Hello, Original Soul. Thanks for being here, and let's jump right into this reading, shall we? All right, so I already have some cards out. We'll go over those first and then add in tarot, spirit animals, some other things to it. I hope you've been feeling well. First out of the dream deck, the intruder card. So how has your energy been? How have you been feeling? Have you had any dreams about intruders? Those can be unsettling. I've definitely had dreams like that before. But this card, right, looking a little dark, there's someone sort of creeping around outside this house. Your house represents, house and home represent, your ego or your inner self. So again, just notice if that's feeling like there's been anything that has either intruded or just kind of come into either your energy or your environment. Maybe that is in interactions or even your actual home. And so just keeping an eye out on that, because all down the center, we've got some similar energy going on with these three cards. We've got the staff, number 51, number 34, protection from all dangers. And then out of the Moonology deck, your hard work is paying off, new moon in Capricorn. So we've got three cards right here with a lot of really similar energy. All of these cards have animals with antlers on them. Honestly, I thought this was a giraffe. That's what it looks like to me, but as I look closer, right, there's sort of that wood intertwined going up, and then some sort of skull with antlers and horns. Got a similar thing on this card. This is one of my favorite cards out of this Egyptian deck. I have not seen them all, right? I take them as they come, but this one comes out a lot. So when I see the number 34 just out in the world too, I take that as a number of being protected. So protection from all dangers. This also has this sort of horned, is this an antelope or a gazelle on it? And this card, reading through the book, so this is Father of the Gods, Sa. And then this kind of looks like 111, a portal to me. And I don't know if you can see up in this corner here, but he's on this boat holding a staff. And the book talked about, right, using his staff to bludgeon animals and, is it like bludgeon enemy? There's a lot of bludgeoning. But protection. This book also talked about, right, the staff is all about authority, and it did reference Moses having a staff and how he could use that for healing or to call on plagues, right? So there's sort of these kind of polarities going on, but a lot of power in the reading. And then with the Moonology card, your hard work is paying off for the new moon in Capricorn. We just had new moon in Aries. As I'm recording this, that was yesterday. So new moons, maybe some new plans, some sort of new intentions. Capricorn and Aries are both cardinal signs, which are about, again, leadership, authority. So a lot of that energy here in the middle. So maybe there's some sort of line that you're drawing or some sort of different action that you're taking moving forward. Because moving forward in the future here, hopefully the near future, this Hawthorn card, Heart's Home, came out. And look how beautiful and bright that is. And you can see how this tree is, right, rooted in the water, so rooted in water and the earth, reaching up to the sun and the sky, and then branching out, really connected to everything here. So this really speaks to, instead of maybe some of this cold or possibly negative, or just feeling unprotected, maybe even a little bit of loneliness, or being out in the cold. There's a lot of kind of snow, little sprinkles on a lot of these cards. It's ice raining where I am right now. But a lot of more brighter energy moving into the future if you just kind of look at it in the colors here that are out on the cards. Again, with this protection at the heart of the reading, so remembering that you are protected, right? And that is just with your own choices. So trusting yourself, but also in that connection to spirit or your higher self. So really kind of trusting those instincts. And so this week I decided to keep the Archangel Michael card and the crystal card from last week. The Archangel Michael card was your inner guidance is real and trustworthy. And I just really didn't want to put it back. And that felt really applicable to this reading. So that was maybe a little preview last week of maybe something that transpired or something that you've been dealing with. And then same with the crystal card with Jet. This was about clearing your space, claiming your space. I did a solar eclipse reading yesterday. I think it was in that reading at the end. I kind of went on a little lecture or a little recommendation, let's call it, about maybe cleansing your energy and doing some clearing. So that definitely coming out again. So again, I don't know what's been going on. But again, there's just been something that's maybe been bogging you down, weighing you down, bothering you, maybe something that happened that has been unsettling, whether this was with other people or maybe it's just something with yourself or your own choice. So again, maybe drawing that line, taking a different action, moving to this brighter feeling and really tapping into that inner connection with yourself, with your spirit team, with your guidance, right? We'll keep that message from Archangel Michael. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do a spirit animal first. Yeah, last week, Beaver, balance, was at the bottom of the deck. Right, and when we're talking about being a leader or authority, balance is really important. Right, kind of keeping your ego out of the way. Right, to let that real guidance come through. Right, and finding balance kind of between that ease and effort. Right, again, that card did talk about polarities. All right, let's go ahead and see. Got a couple animals out. Like I said, we got a lot of horned animals out here. Although on this Moonology card, it looks like a goat combined with a fish. What were those animals? I don't know, when I was a kid, what were they? Heffalumps? Was that something? Or Wuzzles? I don't know. I'm going to have to look this up when I'm done, but it was like a combination of two different animals. Okay, let's focus here. All right, we'll do one more shuffle, get a spirit animal. I don't think Heffalump is in this deck. All right, cutting the deck with peace. And at the bottom is intuition. So dolphin and blue jay there. Okay. Let's see. Horse, freedom. All right. So we got horse, freedom. You must break out of any limitations that are holding you back, whether they are self-imposed or put on you by other people or society. Break free and run faster towards your dreams. I love this horse because maybe there have been some limitations, some sort of intrusion, some kind of restriction keeping you down. Right, so horse is recommending that you break free of that. Again, maybe there's a new action you take, a line that you draw, and run faster towards your dreams. This bright future. I love that. Okay, let's add in one of the angel tarot to it. And do remember that your hard work is paying off. I had a setback recently on just a small illustration project, something that, I worked really hard on, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to kind of put it out there the way that I had hoped to. So I was definitely upset about that for a couple days, kind of let myself be angry, maybe had a little bit of a tantrum. Just kind of hold myself in for a couple days to let myself just be in those feelings. Okay. Right, but now maybe it's time to take a different action, or what could I learn from that? Right, trust my gut to move forward. All right, let's see what comes out from the Angel Tarot deck. All right. 10 of Wands, Nanael, number 53. God humiliating the proud. Okay, so what were we talking about? About getting ego out of the way, being careful of that. Maybe this kind of bludgeoning of enemies. I don't think we have to be that intense. Spiritual communication influences religious men, teachers, and men of law. All right. So there we go, Nanael out of the Angel Tarot deck, 10 of Wands, which traditionally is about burdens. Notice we've got this staff coming up here in the center, which is, right, one of the wands, an Ace of Wands. So like I was saying, maybe there is some sort of new action, new beginning. Spiritual communication, definitely coming through the Hawthorn card. And I do like that there's a house pictured here, even though it is dark, right? There's this creeper outside with their flashlight. While people are maybe cozy inside with the fireplace going. Looks like a full moon in that card, which will be coming up in, I don't know, about 2 weeks or so. So we've got that home there looking dark, and then Heart's home here, right? So getting out of ego, moving more into heart, right? Taking action towards that. I love that. And spiritual communication. Okay. Let's see. Let's add a couple more cards to it. Before we close this out, I'm going to use this little Lenormand deck that I've got here. So we'll add just a couple cards out of this, maybe 1 or 2 out of some tarot. Okay. So yeah, what do you do, or what do you like to do to protect yourself or protect your energy? I recently did some saging. I took a rose bath. Oop, 2 on the floor. I took a rose bath, or like a rose petal bath. I like to meditate. I've got singing bowls and things like that. I like to grab certain crystals. So what do you like to do? All right, I'm gonna grab these cards. Let's see what came out. All right, so yeah, with this intruder card here, we've got birds and cat. Talking about polarity. All right, and in this deck, there's a couple different cards that represent the same one. So this also can be a dog. So this card is a lot about loyalty. But we know that cats, right, kind of choose their loyalty. They can be fickle. They're usually loyal to themselves. If you have a cat, right, they, just like everyone, everything, right, everyone has their own personality, including the felines, right, but they're known to be just a little bit more on their own time, on their own schedule, right? So again, maybe there's something coming in with that. And then the bird's energy is kind of like a lot of chatter. It could be gossip, just something that's giving you a headache, maybe just something that's a little bit too much. So I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone here with this intruder energy. All right, let's see here. Get 1 or 2 more out of this deck. We'll see if I can keep them on the counter. No? Try it one more time here. See if anything wants to come out of this deck for the center row. There we go. All right, so Fox, Whip is on the bottom. So Fox can be, right, a cunning energy. It can be about strategizing. Fox can also be about theft. I mean, think about a fox kind of sneaking in. Yeah, sneaking, that's kind of the word I was looking for. So sort of a sneaking energy. So I don't know if that applies to anything that's been going on with you, or maybe you've been sneaky about something, or maybe you need to be a little sneaky, right? Maybe you need to keep some of your plans, maybe these new plans, to yourself, right? Notice how there are sometimes people right around you that sort of shut things down, or even if they don't intend to, they may sort of diminish what you're talking about, or kind of shoot it down right away, or point out all the reasons it doesn't make sense, right? Notice how maybe that's limited you in the past. So this could need to be you being a little bit more secretive, or you not necessarily sneaky, right? But you don't have to tell everyone everything all the time. So being a little more discerning with who you're sharing information with, or how much information you're sharing, right? It's okay to keep some things to yourself for a while. And letter and house. So we have another house coming out again here with this row, or adding a house into this row, right? We've had home reference now twice. So a letter with a little octopus or kind of squid on it here. I've been seeing octopi a lot lately. So letter is about communication or information. So like I was just saying, just notice, do you need to convey everything? Maybe being discerning about what types of pieces of information you are sharing, right? Maybe in the past you've sort of divulged everything too fast, too soon. And that's caused some problems as well. But some kind of information. I don't know if this is part of your action. Maybe you need to write a letter for something, or you're receiving a letter, right? It could go either way. But yeah, maybe you need to send an email, send a text. Maybe there's some sort of paperwork that needs to happen or get put in order to move forward. Maybe it's related to a house. Maybe you're buying a house and you haven't told anybody yet. You're looking at property. Again, this is also about your inner environment, your stability, your ego, right? So getting some of that in check. But again, making decisive action for your stability, to strengthen your heart and your home. All right, let's get one more card here. I'm going to use the Wizard Tarot. And then we'll close it out. I hope you've got some exciting plans. Right? Remember not to give up, but maybe there is some sort of adjustment that needs to be made. Maybe something needs to be, again, just changed, or maybe cut out or communicated differently. Right? If you're the one with your ego kind of running rampant, if I could speak, maybe get that in check. Ooh, 3 of Pentacles. So yeah, this could have to do with working with others, blending things. You can see on this card here, she's kind of reviewing this really long list. So like I was just saying, maybe there is some sort of paperwork that needs to get in order. You need to look over all of the details, make sure you understand, right, everything that's going on, whether it's something you've ordered, or something maybe that you're publishing, or again, maybe this is that letter you're sending. So maybe take a second look, read it again, make sure everything looks good, and you're conveying things from the heart. Yeah, this is about blending energies, blending resources, whether this is literally working with others in whatever this might be, right? Or just drawing on different types of energy, different types of resources. Right? Pentacles aren't always just about money, right? That can be about stability. That can be, again, maybe everyone was making soup and you have rice and someone else has broth, and, you know, just getting different things to mix together to be more connected. To feel more connected. Right, so creating some sort of magic here. Maybe that's getting more solid, what's the word I'm looking for? Ace of Wands. I'm not surprised this came out at all. This has been coming out a lot lately. Ten of Swords at the bottom of the deck. So definitely something coming to a close with Judgment. Yeah, under that, Four of Swords. So some kind of cycle or pattern ending. And maybe this is just, again, your own way of thinking. Maybe these limitations or intrusions that have been kind of holding you back. Because the Eight of Swords is, again, that staff energy. I mentioned the Ace of Wands as we were going through that. All right, so this really is about kind of being the leader, taking the lead as you move forward, but finding that balance, right? Getting rid of these limitations, trusting yourself, trusting your instincts, knowing that your instincts are your connection to your higher self, sort of that kind of enlightened information, kind of that universal energy. Yeah, tap into this horse energy. Okay. All right, so let's set the affirmation here. This really is about taking action, maybe being, I don't know if humble is the right word, but maybe just not too forceful, right? Still doing everything with love and kind of reverence, right? For the earth, for the environment, for humanity, for fellow people, right? Because everything is connected. All right, so let's set the intention here. All right, how about I trust my gut? How does that sound? All right, I trust my gut. You trust your gut. All right, so you do have gut instincts. Do you push them aside and not listen to them? How does that go? Or do you take those into account and really start to listen to that inner voice, regardless of sort of the external viewpoints? Right, so what could you do this week to get more in touch with your internal voice, to follow your instincts a little bit more, whether that's simple things like what you're having for dinner, what you want to do that day, or, you know, so you're prepared for some larger things, right? Especially if you have some of this intrusion coming in, right? Really trusting the way you feel, right? And acting from that place. So again, checking in, following your gut instincts, because that's leading you to your heart's home. All right, so that is the affirmation for the week. I trust my gut. I hope there was something here for you. If there was, I'd like it if you would let me know. You could always like this video, leave me a comment. I'd love to connect. But all right, I hope there was something here for you. That's what we've got this week. And until next time, peace.